Hello. Hello. Welcome back to Church with Bo. It has been an eventful couple weeks for me. I got hired at this AI company. I did like 300 tasks for them the first week I was with them. And then halfway through, really, the first week, almost on day 7, I find out that the project I was working on just ended, so I can't make the same money I was making on it before, and then there haven't been any projects, and all the projects I've taken hour-long assessments for just have nothing available. But good news, everybody else on Reddit agrees. I hope you've all had a wonderful couple weeks. A lot has been going on in the news. We saw that sit down with Zelensky. That was fun. Looks like, Europe is going to have to step up and do something for the Ukraine, at least match what the US has already put in monetarily. But in lighter news, there have been a lot of plane crashes this year. I decided to look it up because, it felt like every week or so we were seeing another crazy plane crash. And I found this article talking about it. There have been 94 aviation accidents in 2025, according to USA Today. According to data from the National Transportation Safety Board. Correction. There were 63 incidents in January and 31 in February so far as of, I believe it was the 19th. Yep, the 19th. So it's probably been at least another 4 or 5 in February. And now we are into March. Well, almost well into March, So I don't understand what the hell's going on. I looked it up, and apparently, overall, I guess it's the number of plane crashes is down. It's actually not as high as the year before or the years before. I don't know if we can really say that because I only saw totals like by year, but it was saying there actually hasn't been more plane crashes than normal. Maybe they're just being, pushed to the front of the news and we're seeing them more if you have been. Because honestly, a lot of people hadn't seen a lot of the plane crashes I did. My coworkers, I would ask them about, oh God, you see that plane that fell like over the freeway in Florida? No, what are you talking about? Oh my God, people were jumping out of the plane, screaming after it crash landed, talking about get the pilot, we're fine, but get the pilot. That one was a little traumatized, clearly, you know. But apparently every year there's around 1,200. One year I saw in I think it was like in 2019, there was like 1,300 something. The last 2 years, it's been like one year was like 1,200 something. The other one was like almost 1,200. So it seems like there's a lot of planes falling out of the sky every year, and we just don't really know about them. The crash is, wait, hold on. Two single planes collided around 8:30 a.m. on the 19th of February near southern Arizona airport, killing 2 people. Around 8:30 a.m. at the Marana Regional Airport, 20 miles northwest of Tucson, Arizona, according to the Federal Aviation Administration and local police. I know what I'm saying. I didn't read that wrong. You heard it wrong. Fuck. Well, the crash is the latest in a slate of recent aviation disasters in the US. Man, are they trying to sound like they're just using big words to say simple things, including the devastating mid-air crash between a military Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines commercial plane outside Ronald Reagan National Airport last month. All 67 people on both aircraft died. The DC mid-air collision marked the first high-profile commercial aviation crash in 15 years. Experts assure that aviation remains extremely safe through the recent disasters and have raised concerns about flying. You know, they say this, but I've heard a lot of people talking about, I just got a flight to Japan for yada da. I got a flight to Miami from New York for $100 round trip. You know, I've been hearing these kinds of things because nobody wants to fly right now. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was supposed to fly to Romania in April, May, and I was not excited. I was months out from the flight. I hadn't even bought the tickets and I was sweating it just thinking about it. So if it's fear mongering, the fear mongering works. What can I say? Another incident when a Delta Airlines regional jet carrying 80 people flying out of Minneapolis crashed after flipping at Toronto International Airport. Yeah, we talked about that one. They just flipped upside down on the landing and the tail caught fire. Thank God nothing else happened, everybody got out safe. Total of 18 people were injured, but there were no fatalities. Wow. 63 incidents in January. Now, obviously, those aren't all, commercial jetliners or whatever, but still, one was that medical plane that fell in Philadelphia. I know I sound like a broken record talking about these, but seems odd. I don't know. A lot of random mistakes going on that are kind of hard to cover up. Secret Service shot an armed man near the White House overnight on Sunday the 9th of March. Crazy. When I first read the title, obviously, like everyone thinks, oh God, they got one. Somebody was actually doing it. Like that guy who broke in during the Obama administration, and there was just a skinny lady guarding the door. So he just punched and knocked out the lady guarding the door and then broke into the White House. He had guns and a bunch of stuff in his car, but he got out the car with like only a knife, jumped the fence. There's no dogs or anything, punched the lady, and ran through the whole White House, not knowing what was going on. Probably suicidal, like, you'd imagine. But eventually, an off duty cop that just happened to be in the White House tackled him and arrested him because he was clearly just insane. He could have done a lot of damage. So you'd expect since then for them to have some sort of policies. And I thought it might have been somebody with some military training or something too, another would-be assassin maybe. I don't know. But I would read a little into it and it seems to be suicide by cop, very much so. And I guess, Secret Service isn't really taking any chances nowadays for political reasons. They said it had earlier received a tip off from local police about a suicidal individual who may be traveling to Washington, D.C. from Indiana. So they found a note. So what can you say? You know, I wish you would have thought about it, but clearly, when you're a suicidal man, I imagine you might get scared to do other things when you've heard about a bunch of people who have like tried to shoot themselves and lived, people who have like basically shot them. That I saw a video of a man, you could Google it, who shot himself in the face with a shotgun and lived. And he said, as soon as I pulled the trigger, I realized what a big mistake I was making, and I wanted to live. I think he was a redneck. I'm not sure, but he might be a redneck if you survive a shotgun shot to the head. And, when you think about things like that and you see a couple of those people who have jumped off bridges and lived, and, you for some reason don't hear them out and be like, oh, maybe it is a mistake. They all said they regret doing the thing, you know? Sometimes you just decide the best way is to ensure you die by rushing the White House and, you know, posing like a terrorist or something so Secret Service really gets you. I don't know, but I don't think he wasn't trying to die that night. Because whether it was the same suicidal man from Indiana that they received an anonymous tip about or not, um, he was suicidal. There's no way, unless you're, insane or sick and suicidal, that you're going to think you could just run around, run up, or do anything to the White House or its staff without potentially getting popped. Maybe not killed, but you're most likely going to get shot if you're going in there on like an aggressive tip. Next up, Florida teenager kidnapped, dismembered, meeting a man on social media. They don't want to say the type of social media. Miranda Corset, 16, was reported missing to the Gulfport Police Department on February 24th. On Thursday, St. Petersburg police received a call from a witness who said they had information about a possible kidnapping and homicide. Through their investigations, detectives learned that 16-year-old Miranda was lured through a social media app to meet a 35-year-old Stephen Gress on Valentine's Day. Wow. There's a special place in hell for that guy. After meeting him for the first time, she went home and then the next day returned to his home. Jesus Christ. Investigators believe that Corset was killed sometimes between the 20th and the 24th, and Gress drove her body to a house in Largo, where he disposed of it. This is insane. And of course, it was a Florida story. Why do all the most insane things happen in and around Florida? Is it the climate? Is it like all the insane amounts of wild animals and exotic creatures in Florida? Maybe it's Disney. Disney. Jesus. According to police, Corset stayed with Gress and his partner, 37-year-old Michelle Brandeis. Oh my God. At their home until a dispute occurred on February 20th, where the teen was beaten to death. He had her in there with his wife. What kind of evil, orc, trollish wench co-signs that demonic ass shit, man? I'm sorry, but that is not okay. I'm glad they got him. I mean, I hope they bury them under the jail. Somebody's gonna have a present for them when they get clocked in or whatever. Oh, in other news, moving forward, should have probably said this one second. 5 taken to a hospital after a plane crashes near a retirement community in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Let's sip some water. A small plane crashed into the parking lot, non-commercial. Okay, so it's not going to be on the news as much as the Delta and the one that collided with a helicopter, but small plane crashed into the parking lot at a retirement community, Pennsylvania, Sunday afternoon, March 9th, injuring the 5 people aboard and damaging around a dozen vehicles, according to local authorities. The plane, a single-engine Beechcraft Bonanza, crashed around 3 p.m. Wow. 5 people were on board and were transported to local hospitals, according to Little. About a dozen cars were damaged, 5 severely, officials said. No structural damage to the retirement community buildings, and no one on the ground was injured. Wow. The fire had since been put out using copious amounts of water. Insanity. But I'm glad it seems like everybody was I don't know if any lives were actually claimed, 5 taken a hospital, so we've got that. Moving onward, going bullets. Romanian far-right pro-Russian candidate barred from presidential vote. Now, this is CNN, so we got to take it with a grain of salt. This hits home for me. I am Romanian. I moved here from Romania in '99, and most of my family has always told me that the communists never left. The communists never left. They just changed their hats. When we killed our communist dictator, there's no way that, you know, it was a revolution of the people. It wasn't like America came in and made sure we hired a bunch of people and that all the people that had to be tried or were tied to the Communist Party were actually ousted from government and blacklisted and all that. No, none of that. I'm sure, my people did as much as they could. I don't want to take anything from them. But from the OGs I've talked to going back, it appears that the communists didn't really all leave. A lot of them had ties to a lot of families and stuff, and, stuff that would make them hard to get rid of politically for whatever reason. And they just condemned the communists, and I was never for that. They had a gun to my head type of shit. So you got to take everything that goes on in Romania with a grain of salt when they say far right pro Russian candidate. I've talked to I've talked to people I know who live in Romania and family members, cousins, and stuff, and they all seem to be pretty in agreement that this guy isn't pro-Russian. He wasn't pro-Russian. If anything, he was more of like a progressive, kind of far right, but more so just progressive right. And allegedly, a lot of people didn't know him, and he's blown up mostly off of like TikTok and random like little political talks he's done around Romania in the last election cycle. And he's gotten a lot of votes and a lot of popularity because of social media. Apparently more than the Romanian government could have expected. So much so that he won the first vote, the first presidential race, and he won by such a large margin that they canceled the race. They said some like election interference was going on, and they reset the race to, I believe, later this month. And now I'm seeing that this man is barred from being allowed to run in the presidential race because he did too well. Like, my family members are already on Facebook and Instagram on their stories posting stuff like, we never had a choice. It's always been who they want. Wake up, Romania. Why do we never have a choice? Why do we all vote for one thing and we ask everybody, nobody voted the other way, and the other way always gets chosen? Like, something's been fishy for a long time, and this might, spark another little rebellion in Romania. But it's hard, It's a lot of families, like big families tied into all that, and a lot of nepotism that's been going on for like tens of generations. But I pray for my country, and I pray we make it out and make it better than ever before, because we deserve it. We are, I believe, the only country, at least in Europe, to have ever paid off their entire national debt. And it did nothing for us but fuck the country up a little bit more and lead to a lot of corruption. Well, we wish them well. Moving onward. Musk's Doge team reportedly tried to fire air traffic controllers amid multiple plane crashes, but was stopped by the transportation secretary. They squabbled, Sean Duffy and Musk squabbled during a cabinet meeting at the White House. Sources told the New York Times Duffy was reportedly frustrated that Musk had tried to cut air traffic control employees. I mean, if there's any chance that it is, a lot of these crashes are due to poor air traffic controllers, then I would argue that we should probably fire a large majority too, or at least audit them in some way if we, you know, have been aware that a lot of these are air traffic control issues, miscommunications and whatnot, because if we just need to upgrade the machinery, I don't think it would have gotten to that. And I hold out for the little guy. I definitely have wanted to be an air traffic controller before. I've looked into it, I respect the job. I'm just saying that if incompetency as air traffic controllers has anything to do with it, I would agree. That's why I'm saying maybe audit, audit the plane mechanics. Get the whistleblower that came out from Boeing to start doing audits on the actual like airlines, have him travel with security. I believe we could discover something worthwhile. I don't know. But that's all the news we're covering this week. We've got a couple minutes. I'm going to try to phase out a little sooner next time out of the news. We'll do a little more bullety boom, 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 boom. This is what's happening. This is what we could do about it. A lot of times we can't do nothing about it but wish them well or pray and, you know, give the families our best. But we will continue to be reading some of the news because I feel like a lot of the news I look up and I get turned on to is maybe not in everybody's news feeds and even way, way past the news dates and past relevance for any of them. If people ever watch these, I hope they're entertaining or, gripping of stories enough to where you can still enjoy them. Or maybe you could look them up and be like, oh my God, this did happen. What? These UFOs in Virginia, Brazil? I don't know. I'll look it up and you'll find something. So as long as you get something out of it, it's worthwhile to me. I also am not the greatest at just spitballing and talking about anything off the top of my head in the darkness, but news stories help. We have those, we will use those, and just wait. If you actually listen to this, if you've listened this far, if you've listened to any of the past shows, I love you. I appreciate you. You are one of them ones. Smack that all on the flow. Smack that. Give me some more. Smack that. You know, hold on. Hang on tight because this is just the warm up. These have all been the warm up to the bigger and better every time, no matter the weather type thing. I mean, I'm looking up cameras. We're gonna have cameras, many different angles. I'm gonna start with one. We might even start with a little, maybe just a phone camera or just this webcam and mic I have. We could do a little thing. I'm looking up green screens. I want to get some of that green felt and figure out how to, record a pod with the green screen and looking up articles and stuff online. I think that might be really cool. That might be fun. I'm not sure if we'd have to do something like that, like exclusively on Twitch or what, but I feel like I feel like there's shows on YouTube that people have green screens behind a desk and, stuff on the internet being pulled up. Granted, it is usually memes, but we can we could look up other things. Like I kind of like the way the Philip DeFranco show's done, like news wise at least, for like being able to pull up stuff. But I'm not trying to do this post. I like it to, even though I upload it after the fact, I do as minimal editing as possible. You guys see, I don't even really take breaks. I like to do this all in one take, all off the dome. You get a better feel for where I'm at, you know, and overall, I think that's the way I like to do this. So maybe recording it in a live or close to live style might be a good option, because until I have somebody who can pull stuff up and where, we don't have to see the screen the whole time, I'll probably be the one looking stuff up. So I'll just be at my desk with a green screen behind me and we'll have stuff to pull up and I'll show the screen when I'm at that screen. I don't know why I'm saying all this, like, you guys haven't watched a million streamers and people online who do stuff like this, but yeah, we'll still look up news articles. I want to be able to do some meme review. I like a good meme review. Oh, right. Kanye Kanye's been going crazy again. I apologize if that ever makes it anywhere. I just said it twice and I didn't realize it. It's not nice. Ye, Sir Ye, the Holy, has been going crazy. And he said that he's dropping a new album soon. So we can all hope for the best because we all know whenever he goes off like this, whenever there's something going crazy with Kanye, Ye, it'll take me a minute, but I'll get it. With Sir Ye, he usually drops amazing music. When you see a storm of tweets from the Ye, especially over multiple days, the next album's probably going to be fire. But I don't know. I did see a video of him with Justin LA Boy, and they were saying that, he was showing Justin a lot of the AI tools he uses, where he had his son rapping, and he told the producer, now turn that into me. And with some AI plugin, it literally just shifted the voice perfectly into Kanye's voice. So we never know, maybe he gets Young Thug to record a whole song and he just pastes his voice over it, or the other way around. I don't know, but I look forward to all this cool AI innovation, even in music, even in life. But that's gonna be all for me tonight. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, wonderful afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Get good. Enjoy yourselves. Love one another. See you next week. Peace. Okay, this was great. One time, the girl of my dreams asked me if I needed a ride home from campus. So I obviously let her drive me home. And then a couple hours later, I walked back to campus to get my car. Good night.